so we just got done with translations. Now we're working on reflections. Okay? So what exactly is a reflection? So I have an example of a reflection. Here's triangle ABC, and it's reflected across the y-axis, so over here. Notice it's the same distance across, it's just backwards, it's just flipped. So that's all you're doing is just flipping an object. We're going to review some algebra.
Oh.
It's like when you're standing in front of somebody and their left is on your right.
Yes.
All you do is change the sign of the X thing.
Sometimes.
Exactly. Yep.
Alright, so to help you remember how to graph horizontal and vertical lines, I use Hoy-Bucks.
Hoy-Bucks.
And you'll notice over there under teacher notes, you'll see where it says graphing horizontal and vertical lines. And I have Hoy-Bucks, and you're going to have to fill in the parts that are missing.
Ah.
Alright, so the H in Hoy-Bucks stands for horizontal lines. The O is really not an O, it's a 0. That's because the slope is 0. So see how I left off slope? You're going to have to write down that the slope is 0. And what the Y means is it's always, the equation is Y equals a number. So horizontal lines have a 0 slope, and it's always Y equals a number. All right, it should look like. Okay. So horizontal lines go across. All right, what the V stands for is vertical lines. Okay, vertical lines. Vertical lines have an undefined slope. And their equation is X equals a number. Okay, and a vertical line looks like this.
Up and down.
Okay. We need to graph the line Y equals 3. Well, see how it says Y equals 3? That means on the Y-axis, put a dot on the 3.
Monkey jump in tree.
And then Hoy, H-O-Y, horizontal lines, Y equals a number. So that means I'm going to draw a horizontal line through Y equals 3.
The monkey walks.
Let's do another one. X equals -2.
Go down to the
Okay, notice this says X equals -2. So on the X-axis, you put a dot at -2.
Vertical, monkey jump in tree.
And it's a vertical line.
That makes sense.
Okay? So let's do a reflection. It says graph triangle ABC with vertices A, B, and C and its image after the reflection in the line N, X equals 3. So what you need to do first is graph the original triangle. So I'm going to graph A, 1, 3, which is to the right 1, up 3. B is 5, 2, so to the right 5, up 2. C is 2, 1, so to the right 2, up 1. And draw your triangle.
Oh, the triangles.
Okay. Once you draw your triangle, then you need to draw your line of reflection, which is X equals 3. Remember, that's a vertical line at X equals 3. So on the X-axis, put a dot at the 3, and then draw your vertical line. Now, if it's the line of reflection, you're going to want to make it dashed or dotted.
Okay. So, not a reflection.
It's not actually part of the graph.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Now, here's how you do the reflection. Remember how I said that it's the same distance away from the line of reflection on both sides?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
touching.
So A, see how A is 2 units to the left?
Two,
A prime would be 2 units to the right of the line.
Let's go.
So here's A prime.
1, 2, 8.
And then B is 2 units on the right, so you would move it to 2 units on the
Left.
left. So there's B prime.
Ooh.
And then C is 1 unit on the left, so you would put it C prime 1 unit to the,
That's a fancy looking
Right.
shape once you draw it.
and then when you're done, you have your line of reflection. Now, what this line of reflection means is if you were to physically fold your paper along the line of reflection,
It'd be absolutely.
A and A prime would be directly on top of each other, B and B prime, C and C prime. Okay, everything would be touching directly on top of each other, on the exact same side, exact same spot.
That is no cap.
Alright, let's try another one. Let's do one together. ABC and its image after the reflection in the line M, X equals 4. X equals 4.
X equals 4.
Alright, so first, start with your original image.
We're doing this one by ourselves.
We're doing this one together. So here's A, 1, 3, B, 5, 2, and C, 2, 1. And draw that one.
It's gonna be basic.
Now, you're going to draw your
Line
line of reflection, X equals 4. So my first question is, would that line be horizontal or vertical?
Vertical.
Bird.
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 It's vertical
It's
Because it's on X.
oh my, I literally said
It's
that.
like flipped because X is usually horizontal, but if it's on X, it's gonna be vertical. Right?
yes.
Yeah, because why would it be horizontal? Because then it would make no sense because you wouldn't go see it.
Now you need to reflect each point across the line of reflection. So my question is, A prime, I know it would be on the right, but how many units away?
3.
So I start at the line and count to the right, 3 units, so there's A prime. B would be how many units to the left?
1.
And what about C prime?
2 to the right.
You got Kenny.
Notice, you still reflected it across a vertical line, but does the reflection, is it reflected in the same exact spot?
No.
No.
No. So depending on where your line of reflection is, depends on what it's
Could be
gonna look like when you're
different.
done. Now it's the same size and shape, it's just flipped.
Looks like yours than ours.
ABC and its image after the reflection, Y equals 2. So start with A, 1, 3,
These poor kids.
B, 5, 2,
Oh,
C, 2, 1,
And then your reflection is on Y too.
Okay. So my question is, Seth, would this be a horizontal or vertical
Needs to be
line?
horizontal.
And do I graph it on the X or the Y?
Why? Sorry.
Talking to you,
I interrupted.
Does it go on the X or the Y?
Mine's not said.
The Y,
Monkey.
and it's a horizontal line. Now, before I was reflecting from left to right. How am I going to reflect this one?
Up to down.
All right, so A is on top.
Going up.
Okay, so,
A would be 1 below it.
yeah, it would be 1 unit
Whoa.
below the line.
Ms. Goodman, I have a serious question.
Yes.
What if it's on the line?
Good question.
Yeah.
What if it's on the line? How
It
does
doesn't
move, it
stay.
stays.
Stay there.
Okay, so B prime stays where it's at.
What?
And then what about C?
It goes up 1.
One above the line.
Yeah.
So it just stays stationary.
The only one that really even. That makes. Well,
It looks like the same shape, but just flipped.
this monkey knowledge.
I'm going to do the next one. With your partner, it says graph triangle ABC. A is 1, 3, B is 4, 2, and C is 2, 1, and its image after reflection, X equals
Great.
-2. Notice I changed the coordinates for B, that's so it would stay on the graph.
No.
Alright, so hopefully that is what your reflection looks like. Is everyone's reflection look like that?
Yep.
It sure
I'm
does.
getting there. Yeah. Yeah.
There are other types of reflections, there are special ones, and that's when you reflect across the x-axis, the y-axis, or the line y equals x, or the line y equals -x. On teacher notes. You see teacher notes? Okay, there are rules, and I only filled in part of the rules. I didn't fill in all of it, so you're gonna have to fill in the blank, and I'm gonna show you what to fill in. AB, if you look at your notes, it says AB is changed to. AB is changed to. And then number 1 says it's reflected across the x-axis. If it's reflected across the x-axis, then AB gets changed to
Vertical.
A comma opposite of B. So right there where it says across the x-axis, only thing you really need to write down is this new ordered pair, A comma opposite of B. So right there under number 1 or beside number 1 where it says reflected in the x-axis, you need to put A comma negative B, but as an ordered pair.
So
put this.
negative and opposite.
Yes, that means opposite of B. So what that means is if B's positive, make it negative.
If it's negative,
If it's
Positive.
negative, make it positive. Now, look over there on the right where it says in your own words.
say that.
No, I want you to put it in your own words. A and B represent an ordered pair, X comma Y. What did they really do here? What did they change?
Up, down.
Opposite, which means they just changed the sign. So in your own words, over on number 1, you need to write, change the sign of the Y coordinate. That makes it make a lot more sense rather than using A comma negative B.
I put opposite Y change sign. Is that good?
That's fine.
Alright.
So for number 1, in your own words, whenever you reflect it across the x-axis, put change the sign of the Y
Change the side for the what?
the Y coordinate. Alright, so if it's reflected across the y-axis, then the new point is going to be opposite of A comma B.
Change the sign of the A coordinate.
Well,
X.
X coordinate.
I mean, the X.
So then in your own words, you would just say, change the sign of the X coordinate.
That's
about-
distracting us.
What about the line y equals X? Now recall, y equals X, the coordinates are B comma A.
B, A, so they flip.
You flip
X and
your
Y
X and Y coordinates. So for your own words, I would put flip your X and Y coordinate. Y equals negative X,
Oh, gosh.
it's opposite of B, opposite of A. So negative B comma negative A
So flip and change the sign.
of both. Flip X and Y and change the sign of both. Alright, it says graph segment FG with endpoints F, negative 1, 2, and label it as F, G, 1, 2, label it as G, and then draw the segment. And its image after reflection in the line y equals negative X.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Well, you need to draw the line y equals negative X on your graph. So that way you can see how it's reflected, and when you're done, if you wanted to, you could vote it along that line to make graph y equals negative X. That would cross at the origin, and it goes down 1 to the right one, down 1 to the right one. So that's this line here.
How do you know that? So does that always start at the origin?
Always start, y equals X and y equals negative X, yes, because the rule for y equals negative X is negative B, negative A, or I'm sorry, opposite of B, opposite of A. So what that means is I flip these coordinates and change the signs. So you need to actually do that. So it was, F was negative 1, 2.
Yeah, it's one negative.
Well, let's flip it to 2, negative 1.
Dang it.
And then after you flip it, now change the sign. Which you can change the sign and then flip it, but
Change the sign and then flip it. So negative 2, 1.
negative 2, positive 1 would be the coordinates of F prime. Okay, so I'm going to graph negative 2, positive 1, which is F prime. Or G prime. First I'm going to flip them, so it'd be 2, comma 1. And then I'm going to change the sign, so it'd be negative 2, negative 1 for G prime.
Yeah, I knew that.
So G prime would be negative 2, negative 1, right there.
Right there.
And then you need to draw the line for G prime.
Like, who created that? JKL.
The vertices of triangle JKL are J13, K44, and L31.
John Kennedy, Leonard,
John Winthrop Kennedy.
Leonard.
Graph triangle JKL and its image after a reflection in the x-axis. Alright, I need you to look back at the rules and tell me what's the rule for the x-axis?
It's A comma negative B.
What does that mean to do?
You change your y coordinate. You decide
Yeah,
the y
change
coordinate.
the sign of the y coordinate. So J prime would be what?
1, -3,
What about K prime
4, -4,
and L prime?
-1.
What I would do is draw the x-axis, which it's already really there drawn for you, so you really don't have to because it's there already. Okay, so there's your x-axis, and now you just plot those new points. 1, -3 is J prime, 4, -4 is K prime, and 3, -1 is L prime, and then draw your triangle.
Run.
Come on,
We gotta run.
Okay,
come on, let's go.
the next one says reflected. Let's skip the y-axis and let's go to y equals x.
Y equals X.
Y equals x.
Y equals
Here's the line y equals x. It starts at 0 and it goes up 1/1. So that's the line we're going to reflect.
Change the x, the x.
No, we're on y equals x.
Y equals X. That is BA.
Yeah, it's BA. You just flip them.
Freak.
So first let's draw J, which is 1, 3. K, we do 4, 4. And L is 3, 1.
Yep.
Ooh, this one's gonna look weird.
I think it's gonna look very pretty.
Now let me do a different color.
Weird.
It's
Okay.
I'll show you weird.
Side looks weird.
Alright, what's gonna be my coordinates for J prime?
-1, 3.
Damn it, Bree,
No.
spit out your
It's
answer.
BA, so you just
3,
flip
1, 3, 1.
3, 1 prime B. Yes, it is.
Yeah, just be the same shape.
And what's L prime gonna be?
1, 3.
1, 3. The only thing that's really gonna change is J and L are gonna move positions.
Okay.
So J prime is 3, 1. It's now where L
It's the
was.
same thing.
Here's K prime. And then L prime is gonna go to where J was.
J prime.
And then a little bit.
So it's in the same shape.
It's in the same exact location, but J and L switch
They
spots.
switched.
Tomorrow, you will do that last problem, the y-axis, and then you will do the student journal.